listening tonight. I got a feeling that the cards just ain't right. I'm so salty, must not give in to rage. And I'm wondering what those rollers will say. Scarves to the left of me, cheers to the right. Here I am, gonna roll a derby tonight. Gonna roll a derby tonight. Gonna roll a derby tonight.
G'day everybody, welcome to a midweek episode of the Hidden City Roller Derby. I'm your host Simcof, and here on this make-up episode with me is Remedy.
Hello, how's it going?
Birdie, aka Toreadory.
What's up, boys? I'm glad to be back after a little bit of a sabbatical last week, but I'm excited to talk about the new shit.
Yeah, and nobody else is here. It's just us three. A power trio today, if you will. Okay.
Yeah, we cut
Instead
the
of
fat, you know.
Yeah, we cut the fat instead of the usual horsemen of the L5R apocalypse. We're a power trio.
Trinity.
Cool. So Trinity. We are the L5R Fortune Trinity. I don't know where I'm going with this. Let's cut our losses. This analogy's going nowhere. Cool, man. So this is recorded on late Sunday night where 3 ECs have just been completed, Elemental Championships. We're still deep in the Children of the Emperor meta. We're like week 2 deep into it, and things are starting to become apparent. So I think, today we'll probably just walk through a little bit on what's going on with...
So I haven't seen the results of any of these apart from a photo of Anil winning, which doesn't surprise anyone, I'm sure, at this point. But I believe he won with Phoenix, right? And what were the other results? Because I didn't even know there were 3 going on.
There was a tournament in Madrid, which is in Spain, for those of you following along with Spanish geography. And Gustavo Caperin won it. He was playing Phoenix and he was splashing Dragon, fairly similar to Anil. And then we also had... And Anil, just for those of you who, aka MD, he won in Evansville, Indiana, which is in the United States of his Americas, with Phoenix Dragon. And then we also had a tournament in Sheffield, Yorkshire, in England. Rob Smith, who won, I think it might be his 3rd, it's at least his 2nd EC, but he's a bit of a monster. And he won with, he was playing Phoenix and he was splashing Dragon. So yeah, 3 results, very, very similar. It feels like Phoenix is pretty strong in the post-coat meta. Thoughts? Share them?
Well, for starters, that's cool that Sheffield had one. I think that's a pretty cool town, city, town. We've got friends from there, so shout out to Sheffield. Oh. Yeah, I mean, Phoenix just... I don't know, have you guys played much with them? I've been playing a bit of the good stuff deck. It just feels like it doesn't have weaknesses. Like, there's no... It kind of feels like Dragon did at the end of last season, where there were just very few holes in the deck and you kind of had to get a little lucky or, I think this one is still the one game plan that can kind of challenge it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I certainly know that the Scorpion Duelist deck, which I've been probably putting the most volume into, is probably... I'm fairly comfortable with the Phoenix matchup, but I do know playing most other clans, it's pretty tough. I'll tell you about a Lion deck later on, which I played in a tournament today, which I feel is okay versus Phoenix. I know you might combat me on it, but I'll tell you my experiences. But in general, I feel most other matchups are pretty
Just to
tough.
clarify, is this Phoenix deck, were all 3 running Tadaka and 5 fires? Like, were they all pretty similar builds?
And Uji... Well, I can't speak to the deck list of the other guys, but I can only assume. I definitely know that Anil was running, 2 5 fires and, the old Embrace the Void. And, all of the good stuff, the Tadakas, the Ujinas. I think he's
so
even
the
running
deck. Yeah, so as Bert's saying, it doesn't have very few weaknesses because it not only can shut down your opponent's hand, it can shut down your opponent's board at the same time. Which very other decks can do.
So presumably, without 5 fires, they would have... less ascendancy against big tower dueling decks, right? Because the benefit of having 5 fires and just so they have guys lots of skill. They don't have the duels, but with 5 fires, they can equalize or remove the tower and then take the game over that way. I think without 5 fires, the matchups would be pretty even, like against Dragon dueling or Crane dueling or something. It's interesting. I love that 5 fires is in the game. and I want it to stay in the game because there needs to be a safeguard against, putting 7 Fate on a guy and just towering him and using him in 5 conflicts with stuff like Indomitable Will or Against the Waves or whatever. So I think that card's like necessary. I think it gets pretty sickening when it's combined with Embrace the Void. And then Tadaka, in my opinion, Tadaka should be the first card to be permanently banned in L5R.
It's I think it is
cool.
limiting design space, right? I was thinking today about how I keep thinking of all these event only decks that run. Is it Test of Skill? I think the card is. And I was like, oh, this would be really cool to kind of gain hand advantage and stuff. And then I realized that because Tadaka is in the game, it actually just locks me out of ever thinking about that deck because I can't run an event only deck because Tadaka exists, and if I run an attachment tower deck, the 5 fires kills that deck. So it just feels like I'm stuck in this this weird place where my deck building, because of one matchup, has been limited or stifled to a certain extent. And every time Tadaka hits, they were like, Bert, you played that Tadaka against me when we were playing that HMT matchup, and it just locked me out of the game. And I just was like, this is so frustrating because against any other clan, I can burst through, but against Tadaka, it's like my whole hand is dead of like 12 cards.
So I want to tell you a cool story. So today, I went to a local tournament at Next Level Games. Shout out to Andy down at Ringwood, who does a great job in organising those tournaments. And Glenn's actually there usually on the every second Thursday to help out to run the local night down there. But today we had a bit of a strong old tournament, and Hugh, who we've mentioned before on the podcast, who's a very strong Crane player, probably our strongest local Crane player, he won again, and so he won the tournament, and it was against JK, who's occasionally on our pod and is a fellow roller, who was playing the Phoenix Good Stuff deck. He's got some interesting choices in his Phoenix deck, which I think a lot of the Phoenix Constabulary might disagree with, which we could talk about in a second. But what was really interesting was the way that Hugh actually closed it out. Is JK had Tadaka and Ujina on board, and a rotating band of weenies as support, but he had like the death combo on board. And Hugh on Jay's box had a one of route in his deck, and that one of route sent Tadaka home, and it allowed him to actually break the box. And one of the things that Hugh was telling me was that he had, and this is prior to even that Phoenix game starting, but he does run a bunch of one-ofs and specifically because of Tadaka, and so he's got like one of route, one of fallen in battle, one of there's a few different like sort of spice cards, and I think that as the card pool deepens, I know that it does warp the meta a little bit by having to make your decks with a bunch of one-ofs, but I think there's no problem at all in having a few spicy one meatballers. What do you guys think about that?
Well, I've always loved one-ofs. I'm a huge one-of fan, and in our Worlds deck, Ben, we had a lot of one-ofs.
Oh, yeah, we certainly did.
And I think it's first of all, it's surprise factor. Second of all, stuff like dodging Tadaka. And third of all, having a spread of effects in a deck is powerful. It's innately powerful to have many, many varied effects, as opposed to, granted, you overall your deck's power level might be slightly lower, right? Because you lose it, like you cut your third bonsai for a karmic twist, say. So you lose a little bit of consistency and whatnot, but you gain, sometimes you'll blow games out. And so I absolutely love Fallen in Battle, and I think that card has been being slept on all the way since Core. I've tried playing it in line a lot, but I think with cards like Duelist Training becoming really, really playable, it becomes a lot stronger, Fallen in Battle, because you bow their Tadaka, for example, win the conflict, and then just annihilate him. So I'm a huge fan of it.
I was running a Lion deck today that was splashing 3 Feral Ninos, aka Fishboy, and 2 Subdue the Spirits. It was pretty good. Subdue the Spirits can give you like just the most disgusting force bumps when you're on box. But one of the things that it did do was it had that True Strike Kenjutsu, or whatever it's called, the new Lion thing, and so quite a few times I'm running 2 Fallen in Battles, because it's weird to say this, but Fallen in Battles is a consistent card in that deck now. And I got my favorite scalp of the day was Toshimoko. Was used Toshimoko.
Dude, nothing feels better than that.
It had like a Morimoto's Day Show on it. It had like a whole bunch of stuff on it, right? But I managed to actually just get there.
So who gets to trigger first? If you're first player, you get
first
to play
player
in battle.
First player. So
that's so awesome.
So what the beautiful thing was, right, is I was first player. So it doesn't matter whether it's a win or a lose effect. It's just like, that's it, that win or lose trigger space. That's the same window.
Yeah.
So I got to fall in battle before he could do that.
And how did that feel, Benjamin?
It felt really, really good. I still lost the game, but it felt really. I actually lost the game because of another Toshimoko. He brought out a second Toshimoko later on, and I was on box, and I had with the help of Subdue Away the Spirits, I was on like an absurd force, and I still had more military skill to come because I had like a charge and on a general as well available. But like it didn't matter because I'd used like my force pumps to turn on my Defend Your Honor in earlier conflicts. So I couldn't make a single guy, like his Toshimoko was pumped right up. And so I couldn't have a single guy that was big enough. I needed at least to have one of my characters to have the same force as,
so you needed
Toshimoko.
You needed a spicy one of Stay Your Hand. That's what you needed in your deck, Ben.
Make more spicy one-offs. That's it.
I think a one-off Stay Your Hand is reasonable.
No, I think one-offs are fine because it, like you said, it's the prize factor. I would just say that the consistency of that route draw when you're on box is not there. Like, it's great that he could get through the Phoenix, but like Jay probably didn't pump up Tadaka. There's a whole thing, there's a whole series of things that led to why
there's a whole chain, and Jay later realized, and he certainly later realized that there was probably a he said he was being greedy, and in the future he's still learning how to. I mean, he's traditionally been a crab player. He's played a bit of Crane too. But, he was saying he's still learning how to play his Phoenix deck. And one of the things he realized he should have done was just, game block. He got a really greedy. He left
but it's still awesome to kind of get those surprise wins. I've always liked route and strength in numbers. Like, the move home cards, I mean, they're quite nice.
I think route back in last year at the first CanCon, which was kind of the first Australian sort of big Australian tournament we had, I think route featured heavily in your winning deck there, Bert.
Mate,
there's a last minute change.
Last minute +1 route to go to 2.
It saved me in Kozo as well. Like, just being able to deal with the Kachiko.
Wait, you were playing route in your crab deck?
For the Yujiaki.
That's
nice. I just was like, I can't be bothered dealing with these characters with clouds. So we'll just send them out of the conflicts.
So maybe I might just, we could talk about each of the clans a little bit quickly, but I wouldn't mind just sharing my experience about playing Lion post-Coat. I have really enjoyed it. There's a lot of different ways to play it, but forgetting about whether you think they're tier 0 or you think they're like absolute gutter trash deal, forgetting about the relative, power level is, I think previous, in recent times, pre-Coat is quite often have been described as miserable to play because you just feel like you got a hand of nothing, and even if you could play your hand, you can't really do anything. And you really felt, well, I mean, at least I did. I always felt fairly helpless for the last probably 6 months or so playing Lion. But now with 2 key cards, Hand to Hand and Defend Your Honor. Defend Your Honor, I tell you what, that card is absolutely fantastic. And I've just really had a ball playing them, and they feel super playable. And I don't feel miserable about it at all. Like, there are answers for everything, and the opponent might have answers to your answers. That's fine, but like, you're still in it, and you've still got moves you can make. And I think there's so many different ways of playing them. And I've rediscovered Old Box. I've just kind of put HMT to the side for the time being, and I've concentrated on making my probably playing less conflict characters and more balanced deck with balanced attachments and Banzais and like other force pumps and stuff, and I don't know. It's had a lot of fun. Have you touched Lion much since Coat, Bert?
I would just like to take credit for saying that HMT was unplayable trash. It turns out that has been resolved.
You did say that, and Yojin's back,
and I'm correct as usual. But I'm not so masochistic to play a lot of Lion since Coat. My big problem with it. It's good that you're having fun with it, man. Like, I've always found Lion incredibly fun. That's never been the problem for me. But losing, 7 out of 10 games to what I consider like weak opposition or just random Jikoku jungle games, that it eventually weighs you
Jikoku
down.
jungle.
And the big problem...
I'm not losing to jungle though, man. Like,
That's
seriously,
good.
like,
that's good.
yeah, I'm just not. I'm definitely, and I'm having really, like, the games as Phoenix, they're super, super exciting and fun. And they definitely feel interactive until basically, I feel like when our best deck was HMT, you kind of had till turn 3 and then you expired. I feel like now against Phoenix, you've got till turn 4 against Phoenix. Like until the Tadaka lock comes down. Like, yeah, I'm running a few one-offs and there's certain things that can help.
Sabotage
but
them, right? If you're keeper,
You can, I guess. Keeper.
Do you feel like Lion
running
splashes?
My big...
Do you feel like Lion? I feel like Lion of all the clans, you could splash any of the 7 clans and build a pretty fun deck.
It's beautiful.
I was playing Crane.
Yeah,
but the reason that's plausible though is because the core deck is weak. So it's like, I lose 5% of my win rate, but it's not a big deal.
No,
win rate is not why I'm playing.
I think now it's changed.
No, I think
it's
negative
like,
way of looking at it.
I think you could go like, I want to build a Dishonor Lion deck, and you can go with Scorp or Dragon, and it'll do quite well. Or you could be like, I want to go aggro, and you can go Crane, or Phoenix.
Well, maybe.
And then if you wanted to try a control deck, you can go Unicorn, or Crab. I just think there's like a lot of, like, to me, there's very like clear ways you could build the decks, and each of them, you're right, would have the same fundamental dynasty side probably, with a few changes to the 4 cost and 2 cost side. But the conflict deck, like you said, it's quite weak for the Lion cards, but you can kind of mix there.
It's getting better, man. It's getting better, and there's more neutrals. It really is. Like,
my big problem with Lion still, and I think this part of it has gotten far worse over time, is the lack of core game plan. There's no core identity to your deck, and so you can play at playing another clan's game plan. Like, you can try and dishonor people, but you're gonna get destroyed by, Daisho dueling decks who are just siphoning honor from your weenies. Or you can try and play, a Crane Splash that has political rivals and double sacrifices, but you're just better off playing Crane. And so my big problem has been for a long time now is just that there's no one thing that Lion's best at. Like, every other clan has one way to attack the game that they're best at, and so you have it, and then you can make variations on that. And I just feel like that's just absent for Lion, and I'm hoping the clan pack shifts that.
Yeah, I hope so too. The thing that they should be best at is like generating lots and lots of military force whilst they're attacking. Like, I mean, that's Lion, right? Rush, aggro.
Which in a way they are. Like, one in
almost,
5
like
conflicts.
Phoenix can generate a lot of skill.
I think the charge for Greater Glory is kind of neutered what they were meant to be the best at. They were meant to be like, we win a whole heap, like, by breaking one province, but we have cards that gain longer term value than that conflict from that break.
Like a momentum as an identity.
For greater glory will not come off unless cavalry reserves goes.
No,
on.
I know,
I don't
but I'm
see
just
that
saying,
happening,
like,
so.
to me, that's what they were. That they were the momentum decks, and then the restricted list happened. I also think the other thing that they're fair at, that other clans are not fair at, is they don't have unbow other than Sashimono for like post conflict. So every other clan can like ready their tower after the conflict's over, but for Lion you have to pay 2 fate and like show that it's there, and then everyone's running attachment hate. So it's not like Against the Waves or Mountain Doesn't Fall.
1 fate, man. No, you got 1 fate.
What's
option.
that?
You've got the 1 fate attachment that lets you straighten it. Yeah,
that requires you win rings, and I haven't been able to win rings in the clan for 7 or 8 months.
Mate,
so.
you've been
Don't you need 2
away
rings?
for a while. Like, you'll be surprised. I'll send you. Yeah.
I played a lot of Lion prior to Coat. Like, in the
mate, you got it. It's a different. Forget pre-Coat. That's a different clan. Like,
I just don't see that. I just don't see it, man. I mean,
it's okay. You can. Fun. You know what? I'm a Lion loyalist. I love my Lion. I know they're like secondary for you, but
while Scorp was King Dick, I didn't hear you say the clan name Lion for fucking 8 months, bro.
He just
now
I'll wear
that
Lion.
Scorpion's equally jank, you're like, yeah, you're speaking it with Lion with the we word. Oh, we.
Ben just sleeps with his Hadamoto mount at night, just staying loyal to Scorp.
I'm a prideful lion, mate. We've been through some hard times, and we are back in it now. Well, I tell you what, mate. What I might do is I might invite you to some of my like off meta lion groups, and we can, we've got like a think tank amongst some of the best global lion players. We're just thinking about how we're going to attack it. If you are interested in lion as a clan,
I think the ambusher from Unicorn also really helps. Like, I'm wondering,
huge.
I'm wondering if
Love that
I'm wondering if that splash should be re-looked at.
I just think hand to hand, as I predicted, is just not good enough. I think attachments are still, they're actually even worse than they were pre-coat.
But Ben's got some really. I've watched a few of Ben's games as Lion, and he's got some incredible value hand to hands. I think one game he was in a military conflict and he removed two of the dude's attachments, and the dude chose to remove a fan from the lion character. it was like such high value.
I attach really low value attachments. I attach really low value attachments to tempt my players to make stupid decisions.
So hand to hand is like an idiot bait, right? Like you get some.
Some dude I removed a watch commander and a spyglass, and he got an ornate fan, man. Like big value trade.
But that's what that card does.
Okay.
Is it puts you they obviously in the tank thinking about what the fan's for. Do you know what I mean? Like, it puts them in the tank. I don't know. It's a fun card, and that's all that's important to me at this point. Is you have attachment removal, and it does a thing, and you just need to pilot better as to when you play your attachments.
All right. What are we thinking about crab, Glenn? Have you tried much crab lately?
Played a Seeker of Earth crab, and then I versed the Mirror, which was on Keeper of Water, and I lost, and then I realized that Crab Unicorn is just still the best deck. Is it Yakamoto? I think is the 4-coster. In the Mirror, it's I chose to assassinate my own guy just so that my Yakamoto didn't unbow and he's bowed. So he's a really good character because I don't lose jewels. So it's
dude, games where assassinating your own guy seems like the right line of play. I just love that even happens in L5R.
And in the Secret of Earth deck, the best thing about the Mirror when you're playing Tucker is that you get the fate when they sacrifice their own dudes. So I just got double fate, and it feels really good to play. It just doesn't have a game plan. I was defensive Rokugan, and then I realized that if I do that sort of stuff, the way of the crab on his side gets so much stronger. Overall, so Seeker's been fun to explore, but it's still very clear to me that Crab Unicorn deck is incredible. The only cool stuff is that I was playing HMT Unicorn, and my friend Dave was on Secret of Earth Crab, and he flopped double Ballista turn 1, and so I couldn't actually get my 3 breaks because I just lost. He just bowed all my dudes.
Hey Glenn, I got a question for you. I haven't played the matchup a lot, but what I've heard and my intuition is that Eugenia made a pretty even matchup.
Oh yeah, no.
Crab. Is that the primary cloud guy now? Do you just say fuck Tadaka, I don't care about my events, I'll use my towers?
I think it's incredibly hard to beat Phoenix with that crab deck now. Because of that.
With the Keeper of Water
with the Keeper of Water deck, I think Eugenia absolutely swings the matchup into the Phoenix players' matchup. Because you burn all their saves before you're ready to use them. And Phoenix are much better at fate, storing fate, because they can spend much less on board and get the same stat value as you can in crab.
So has Eugenia become the primary cloud candidate?
Probably. But in the Secret of Earth deck, I run 2 sabotages, so I just sabotage him before he hits the board. That's my answer to everything right now. I play all the Earth Roll decks, and you just remove the threats before they hit the board. It's honestly,
I think sabotage I'm still mad it's not neutral. I'm still mad it's not unlocked.
Well,
I wish
people
that
have been
card
playing
was
Peasant's
unlocked.
Advice against me more. I just think the power creep is so big that rather than dealing with these big threats, I just go like we're putting you in the dumpster bin before we have to deal with you. Because on turn one, what all these people seem to be doing lately is like they just store up a whole heap of fate and then they put like 4 fate on their character turn 2. I'm just like, this is so stupid. So I go, well, then I'm just going to discard them before you can play them, and then you have to rely on on the variance of your next flop.
So the only real way to punish doing that turn 1 like turbo investment banking Johnny Shen method is, I think right now, probably Unicorn HMT is the only deck that can force your opponent to actually start investing.
100%. The only thing I'll say again, sorry, just back to Eugenia, I think what you'll see clans switch to is honestly they'll run 3 of that Seppin Hidden Guard. I honestly think that's the way you deal with that Phoenix deck currently. So you cut your Mere Mystics and you run that instead.
Are you running Finger of Jade? Because that can also stop
but like you got to see him, right? And then they run Let Go because they're on Dragon Splash.
But if they let go,
it doesn't matter because they kill your tower. Because like the attachments will go away anyways if they can kill the tower. So it doesn't really matter if they let go of the Finger.
But Finger counts as a reprieve essentially in that instance. So if you have reprieve as well or an Iron Mine as
you're
well,
asking me to store a lot of fate in Crab.
I understand that it makes the matchup tough. I think that's why Phoenix is so good, because they don't have a matchup like that where, like none of the new cards are like poison bullets.
The closest that Phoenix had, or I believe has currently, is the HMT Unicorn deck. The only reason they actually have a fair matchup is because they have the 2 things. They have Eugenia to just remove like all your non-faded dudes, and they have
Eugenia destroys.
and they have Display of Power. So like
it.
even early in the game when you get like the breaks, they're still winning because they get the rings, which is more important.
Yeah, Shiotome Encampment's dead. The rings start doing attrition damage to you. Yeah.
So but yeah, otherwise kind of fun. I've been like my favorite combo so far has been the Heavy Ballista Karmic Balance combo. So I just like emptied my whole hand onto the with attachments onto the board, used the Ballista, and then shuffled. So so that because everyone still bids 5 turn 1, so you can get away with it.
Right. How about you? Let's talk about Unicorn maybe. So now you've been playing heaps. I've been playing a little bit of Unicorn. I think Bert's been playing a bit of Unicorn, but Glenn, I think you've been hammering Unicorn a bit.
I definitely
not
have.
As much.
I still don't.
Yeah. So tell us about Unicorn.
I said that I was pretty low on Secret of Earth Crab, not really making the cut. So I said to Bert, "Give me a good deck," and he showed me that HMT Unicorn is fun because you win quite fast or you lose after the early rush. It's such a unique playstyle. I feel like it's the first aggro deck I've really experienced in the game. So you can go low turn 1 and just buy a whole heap of low cost characters just to poke and then force pump with the ambushes or your bonsais, and you basically run no political conflict cards. So your whole game plan is on trying to break 3 provinces turn 1 full of military, and then either Cav reserves or use Jin in the second round on the box to win the game.
It does feel a bit like Core Set Lion, where you're buying guys with no fate and you're for greater glorying. The new method is you buy guys with no fate, you break provinces, and then when you get to the box and you're out of juice, you play your Cav reserves, and then you. I love the play style. I want that.
And the
deck
best
to
part
be
about it is that you put like I put Talisman and Spyglasses on like these, the 4 and 5 fed investments that come out turn 2. So you just put on all the really good attachments onto your opponent's dudes so that they stay around. So you just put the Talisman so you don't get broken on your box, and you can also swing them into Appealing the Fortunes whenever you want. It's good fun.
I do think that I really like the way Cav Reserves is being played, because that's kind of what the card says. Like, it's, hey, you've run out of shit. Quick, we need to get the Cav Reserves. Here comes the cavalry. And,
Two highlights from Coat for Unicorn though is the challenge in the fields. It's such a fun
That
duel.
card's
It's a
incredible.
zero cost
Awesome.
duel that you do a military duel where you get +1 for each of the additional characters you have participating in the conflict on your side, and whoever loses gets sent home. And so when you're winning a conflict, you can send someone home that's blocking you, and when you're losing the conflict, you can back out so you can defend appropriately. It's a whole heap of fun, but even better is the honest challenger. Like, that guy is so fun to play. I went into a conflict where the crab player blocked me with a Casada. And after I got rid of the action trigger and all that, I cav reserved 3 honest challenges into the conflict, and then I harpooned his entire board into the defense, so that on my second conflict, I could just go in and he couldn't unbow. It was beautiful.
So if you've got warriors on the wind for coming up in the unicorn pack,
Yes.
have you seen
That'd be
warriors on the
incredible.
wind, Glenn?
Yeah, like
which
that sort of synergy.
Yeah,
is
which
so
lets you
much fun.
move all of your cav characters home, drag them all in, and then go home. That's fantastic.
Cards like that, or cards like Honest Challenger, are made so much better by Captive Audience being in the deck, because then your second conflict's actually a massive threat as well. And then you can do HMT, and then do your third conflict's also a massive threat.
I actually like seeing cards like Way of the Warriors, especially if that's a one-off. I like seeing them enter the meta as well, because what that's actually doing is it means that your deck has a game plan that's not exactly the same as all of the decks we've seen before. Like, the whole movement angle that Unicorn have is becoming really, really cool, and it gives you like other angles of attack. It's not about, oh, I've got this attachment that needs to stick, but he's got let goes, so I'm kind of like meta-ing, bustering that stuff. It's a different angle, and I like decks that have different angles of attack and different ways of, different solution vectors, as my friend.
It's not as binary, is it? And I think that's what makes the game fun. When the game's binary, it's not fun. Like,
I think Unicorn is the most unique. Unicorn HMT is the most unique deck out there right now, because there's no other aggro contenders. Like, Lion can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
But I want what we need in L5R, in my opinion, is for that archetype to be present in multiple clans and to be strong enough that it can win tournaments and is either tier 1.5 or tier 1. Because right now, the way I see it is, you've got Phoenix Good Stuff, which has Tadaka and 5 Fires. That's one archetype. Then you have Dueling Towers, and then you have Unicorn HMT. And then there's a fourth archetype that we want to talk about at the end of the cast,
I think
right?
the other thing to consider, though, my only concern right now with the game is just the prevalence of unbow. Like, as in, like, it's not conditional. So, like, it's not like unbow a 3-coster or unbow, like a character with no attachments, or like things like it just feels like right now, you're able to just get one really strong dude out, and it's really hard for an opponent to be able to keep that guy bowed.
Yeah, you have to match their tower with your tower, or find some
like covert and those sort of things. But I just feel like the amount of to me personally, I just think the game would be much more diverse if it was following the thematics of like people coming and going, like your characters leave play and you're getting new characters enter the story, rather than like 5 Fate Tadaka, this dude's.
But I think, wasn't there at the start? I think at the start of the game there was an article written how characters staying around and permanence is kind of the central theme to the game. So I don't think that will really change.
I find what I find so humorous about it is a game like Game of Thrones, where yes, everybody dies, Vala Morghulis, whatever, but the characters you buy don't have a innate expiry like they do in L5R, and yet L5R the characters last far longer, turns longer.
So I want to make a little comment here, right? And I totally agree with everything you guys are saying, right? However, I always like to be the glass half full guy, right? And one of the things that I've seen in personal experience playing this game in Coat, and I think that it will theoretically, hopefully it keeps going this direction, is because the game's getting sharper, because it's a deeper card pool, so whatever solution vectors you've decided to to put your train on those rail lines and go for it. they're getting stronger. So I found that Fallen in Battle, for example, is more reliable. I'm seeing that in my Scorpion deck, and probably with Social Puppeteer, and I'm sure Glenn can attest to this, that things like I Can Swim are becoming more reliable. As we start to see the PK stuff, like the just remove a character from the table stuff, becoming more reliable, then what that means is that those tower decks become more like it's scarier to put all of your eggs in one basket. Because at the moment, I feel like, especially like if you look at people pre-code that were playing, say, Crab, for example, or Dragon, they just load a bunch of stuff on a 4-fate character, invest like the world in that one character, have Mitsu with a bazillion or Ratsugu with a bazillion attachments on lots of fate. And that seems like an extremely sane thing to do. And today it still probably feels pretty good to do that, right? Like you just chuck all of your stuff on one dude, then untap them as many times as you possibly can.
You don't even have to
and just have them
right?
in
you
all
can
of the
favorable
conflicts.
them in. Like there's like all these basically. No.
But the point is, it's
correct.
repeat value, right? It's like you're getting massive value. But when targeted kill becomes more accessible, or as it is becoming more accessible, I think those units become that strategy becomes less dominant. It's probably always going to be strong, but it will be I think
dominant.
So
I think
that's
also then you'd see a shift where rather than filling their deck full of 40 incredibly strong like pumps and all that, they then have to expend 6 cards on like 3 above questions, 3 Finger of Jades. Like you're right, like it alters the deck building on both sides, right? Like one side gets more kill options, the other one gets different ways to try and prevent those kills. Like it does shake up deck building on both sides. So I definitely agree with what you're saying there, and that is exciting. Where like maybe you're right, where it does shift that way. I just think right now, to darker of all of them, like you're one Earth Ring away from losing that game plan. Like because if they hit your Fallen in Battle, the only way to get out of it is karmic balance to get your. I mean that's another meta card, right?
Tadaka is just a massive problem.
You could karmic balance your deck back, right? And then you can play all your cards again. Like, there are ways to play around him rather than Cloud.
So, agree. So, we've been talking a lot about the competitive meta here. However, as a long-time collectible and living card game player, I love the jungle meta. And when a big new expansion hits, there's nothing more I love than hopping on a Smurf account and just playing the weirdest shit and hopefully coming up against some. And there was an opponent's deck I'd like to highlight at the moment, which I just thought was amazing. So there's this new, dragon character. I don't even know his name. You guys might know his name, but he has an action on him where he can move fate from one ring to another, and he gains an honor.
Tranquil Monk?
The Tranquil Idiot. Right. So I was playing against a dude who first turn bought that guy out, and then second turn bought that guy out. He went second, so on turn 2, he was going first. He's got 2 of these Tranquil Idiots out, right? He transfers fate from 2 rings onto so there's three rings that have got 1 fate on it. He transfers all the fate to 1 ring, gaining 2 honor. He's been bidding 1 both turns, and he bids 1 the entire game, right? And his deck is almost entirely attachments, right? And by the end of the game, right, it was a really, really tight game. He had 1 unit with like a huge amount of stuff on, or he had 2 units with a huge amount of stuff on them, right? And just all like inbuilt jewels. He's playing the Crane Splash, Miramoto's Daisho, and he was very close to dishonoring me and very close to winning through honor. And it was like a hard. I kind of talked to him about it, and he said it was a hard honor deck. He said that it can dishonor, but its primary win condition was honoring out, and he claimed that the deck had won through honoring out quite a few times. So I didn't see it win through honor out, but I saw it got pretty close. I just love the deep jungle. What other deep jungle decks have you guys seen?
Just on that though, right? Like that's probably why that piece, like whatever that card is that costs 3, where they can lose 4 honor, or you gain 4.
Oh man, karmic balance.
It's like piece of something, and it's like
Embassy.
Like that's
Embassy,
why like
Pressed
I love
Embassy.
those sort of cards. But like that jungle, that sounds awesome, man. Like I feel like that deck builder, whoever that is, like they went. Everyone's still gonna bid 5. I love that sort of approach where it's like you just go you go against the bid meta, and it shakes it up.
Oh, and I've been. Have any of you guys been karmic balanced?
I've done it.
I had a hand of 7.
It's incredible.
I had a hand of 17
so
that got
good.
karmic balanced. It was very sad.
How did you let that happen, Ben?
I was playing. I had 3 cancels in my hand, but they all required me to be in a conflict. I was playing Lion. I was on Jay's box,
Ben,
and he just karmic balanced me.
Do you ever feel like now I just shake up the bid now? don't you just feel like shaking up the bid? You just chuck in that random 3, and it just throws them off.
3,
not turn 1.
3 is the new 4.
3 is the new 4 because they all bid 4, and then you got them. It's like a gotcha moment because
the hipsters bid 4, so you bid 3 because you're into 4 years ago. But
speaking of jungle meta, I've found that contingency plan in my decks has like surprised a lot of these dual decks.
Let's shape your deck up, man. Talk to us about your deck because this deck's
the jungle.
It's done pretty well. Like it doesn't seem to have Well, it's Glenn's jungle, but it's successful. It wins lots of games.
Grinded against it last week. It's a Scorpion mill deck that utilizes basically every card that has the word like mill or discard from the conflict side of the opponent's deck. So it runs 3 of that new snake dude, the Midnight Prowler. The heart of the deck is the Heartless Intimidator. And you splash it in a Phoenix package with Display of Powers and Oracle of Stones. With a bit of spice by going Fate Worse Than Death rather than Forged Edict. And then you run 3 Censures and a Yogo Kikyo to make up for your cancels. How's the deck gone? You can mill people out on turn 3 generally. It doesn't really, as long as they bid 5, turn 1 and turn 2, you can get them by turn 3.
What's the Phoenix matchup like with that?
Only versus Bert once, and I managed to remove his Tadaka. That's because I saved all my, I hit his UA without having a Fate Worse Than Death in my hand, so I broke it, and then he didn't see the Fate Worse Than Deaths, so then I still had it for the Tadaka. I don't think it's favourable, but you can definitely get some surprises, like you can do Display of Power, get the Earth Ring off them, so then you can play cards.
I think one of the reasons why Phoenix has had its rise is because Scorpion was that poison matchup up until the RL2, and now that that's not there, they kind of have a little bit of free reign. But Scorpion, I think you guys are proving that, both of you are proving that Scorpion still has a place, and one of the big benefits of playing Scorpion, a deck like yours, Glenn, I personally probably wouldn't play all the mill tech. Having said that, you have got me to within mill territory where I had to lose the game because otherwise I was going to lose the game to recycle. But I think that, given that all these decks are running towers and decks are fast, and the good aggro deck is Unicorn, which burns its own honor really quick, having a dishonor strategy is really strong because you can just dodge the towers and say, I'm not going to duel you, bro. I'm going to display a power, and then I'm going to... You
go asymmetrical, right?
Yeah, you just play a totally different game. And so that's a cool thing.
The concept of the deck mainly was that Scorpion, Dishonor, I often found you still bid high, and I felt like sometimes that can lead to you not being able to close the game fast enough against these faster decks. But if you go for the mill approach, you only have to get them to 5, and then depending on what your draw has been, you can... they could be on 12 cards. Like Ben and Bert have seen it. You can be on 12 cards, and I can get you down to 0 that turn. Because if you play, you can just Oracle of Stone, and then if you have 1 Heartless Intimidator out, each backhanded complement's actually hitting you for 2 because you're drawing 1. So you're losing 1 honor, and you're drawing a card, and you're milling a card. So if you have 2 Heartless Intimidators out, you're hitting them for 3 cards. And again, it's the same concept as Sabotage. It's just remove the cards before they even hit the opponent's hand. If you hit their charges, it's variable because it's mill, but if you hit their charges or if you hit their, their really strong cards that they want to see, you're getting value.
I think people underrate just the idea of mill. And they also, people underrate the cost of Shrine Maiden.
Yeah.
When you mill certain key cards.
I've seen people against me. They still play their Shrine Maiden, and when they mill 3, it's just it's really helping me because it's just it just means I get there faster.
It's not a big effect, right? Your goal when you're using these mill effects is to get them to 0 cards in their decks so that they lose 5 honor. So it's a big massive honor hit in one go.
You got to chip away at it, right?
But every mill does count, right? If you see, okay, that they've lost 2 Display of Powers to my mill, you know that you can go and win rings, or and so on and so on.
No, it's been fun. It's been fun.
Can I ask?
Go.
Can I ask? Has Midnight Prowler got it?
No, I just put it in because it was thematic. I found that as Scorpion without Bonsais, I never really won a military conflict. I mean, you can set it up right, like so like maybe they could attack you. Yeah. You block with the Prowler. The problem is if you block and you play Fate Worse Than Death, they'll just play Defend Your Honor. So I've learned that you can't block, and then you Fate Worse Than Death them, and then they go home bowed and Dishonored.
Well, this might be a good way to segue into the previews. So it's the non-clan previews for the Warriors on the Wind and the Unicorn pack, and might start with the new Scorpion character, which may or may not fit into your deck. So Shizuru Hayubu is a 3 Fate unique courtier. She's got 3 mil to political, 1 glory. Reaction: after an opponent discards 1 or more cards from his or her hand due to the cost or effect of a card ability, choose a character, dishonor that character. Have you thought about this one? Have you looked at it? Does it fit into your deck?
Between Spicer Court and Oracle of Stone, this card is quite good. For what a mill game plan is, I'm pretty confident that outside of that, unless we see more cards that discard cards from an opponent's hand, it may not be as good. The cool thing you could do, right, is with this new Unicorn pack, you play like Trading with the Sand Road, and you hit your Oracle of Stone off that, and then you trigger it so that you then get the free Dishonor. You don't lose the card parity from playing the Oracle of Stone from the Trading in the Sand Road pool.
Love it.
And then the more Dishonor effects you can have in the mill deck, the better, because the more Intimidator triggers you get without expending cards.
So you got it.
Quite good. And I Can Swim gets turned on, which is what you also are wanting currently out of Scorpion. You're wanting to be able to have Dishonored characters before they hit conflict, so that then your first action can always just be I Can Swim if your dual dials are different. Which is what Maze of Illusion and the Social Puppeteer.
Social Puppeteer.
So this person doesn't work with Ring of Earth, right?
No.
It's a cost.
No, it doesn't.
Or effect of a card ability. So it is pretty narrow in application. It's got a nice stat line. It's interesting to see a courtier with 3/2 instead of like 2/3.
It's a military courtier. There's not many of them around.
It's like perfect, so that you don't have to run Forged anymore. Just run this character. I'm kidding. Don't run this character.
I guess you could also use duelist training, right? Because when you win the duel, if the bids are different, you pay by cards.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Anything that has a Dishonor A character in Scorpion Dishonor is going to be worth a look at. I'm not sure how. What you need to make sure is that you're getting this off every turn if you invest Fate into it. And I think that's going to be the challenge with it.
So what if you run?
I think obviously it works well.
Yeah, if you run Oracle of Stone and then you run like 2 Spies at Court, would you consider, like, if you have 5 cards that do something, would you consider it Bert, or would you need more cards that do it?
I think you would need more like 8 or 9.
What if
probably? Otherwise, I think Miyako. Are you running conflict characters?
Yeah, Yogo Kikyo and 2 Cunning Magistrates.
So this person actually pairs well with Miyako, no. Right? Like they either discard a card and dishonor a guy,
because they'll just always they'll just discard a card. They'll always just dishonor, correct? Because then you don't get the secondary effect.
But I mean, that's pretty good though. I mean, they'll always just dishonor, but like having a guaranteed dishonor, then rather than discarding a card when someone's got like 12 cards in their hand.
I think I would always rather play Miyako.
Yeah. I will say though, discarding from people's hands is getting stronger because the cards are getting better, right? So like Earth Ring to me has always been the best ring, but I don't know. Like Void Ring to me has never been what wins you games. It's the Earth Ring to gain card parity.
I think Void was a lot stronger when people weren't putting 8
It just feels like what's it called? Battlefields feels. It's just like you're just doing a token like pinprick rather than a meaningful action. That was a cool. Right, that's a cool character.
All right, let's go backwards then. Ivory Kingdom's Unicorn. We have a Rhino/Unicorn. It's been misidentified as Unicorn.
We have a Rhino in our flavor.
So we got a Rhino, man. We got a Rhinoceros, and riding on the, and it's actually piloted by some sort of great cat. It's a 3 fate, 4 military dash political, so it's policy debate immune and a bunch of other political dual immunes. Creature Gaijin. It's a Gaijin card that may be useful at some point. Reaction.
Compass, baby. Compass.
It works with Gaijin customs as well because it's neutral.
That is true.
Hey.
Reaction. Yeah, you can run it. You can run it in a unicorn deck and then use Gaijin Customs. Reaction: after the resolution of a conflict in which his character was attacking, if the province was broken in the conflict, immediately declare your next conflict for the phase. The conflict is military instead of its normal type. So it's another way of converting political conflicts to military. So it gives you consistency. Is this a HMT potential card? It's not Cav, but
if it's going to go anywhere, that's where it will go, right? Like it's not. You're not playing any other deck. You could
switch out Master of the Swift Waves, I think, for this in the current HMT deck that doesn't run the Force of the Rivers, because being able to guarantee that you have like another military conflict is quite good straight away.
I'm glad that this guy's in the game. An amazing flavor, just because of flavor, but the amazing flavor text: fat, stupid, and ugly, a perfect unicorn.
it's weird though, right? So you can't you can't use it with Kaiden Bayushi because like you'd win your first military and then you immediately have to declare your next conflict, right?
It's like breakthrough.
Yeah. So you can't like have him dishonored and then unbow him. There's no window to do that, right?
Well, unless you can't have an attachment, so you can't have a Sashimono on him. So yeah, there's probably not a lot of ways for him.
I don't think it'll see play.
Did you? One thing I do like about it, well, two things: Zero Glory. I think that's great. And then the other thing is that the quote that the fat, stupid, and ugly quote, that's by Caliph Haroon. So Caliph Haroon, that sounds very much like a Burning Sands title. So I do like I do love when they slowly I always love when they sort of foreshadow things by including in flavor text some cool stuff, and they're like, because this says Ivory Kingdoms, and Ivory Kingdoms is beyond the wall up north, and and then you've got Caliph Haroon, and that's like a Burning Sands title, so it's kind of like teasing that one day we might get to see what's beyond the wall.
Yeah, really cool.
The mountain, wrong setting. The mountain.
It seems like
we on to the next card.
Yeah, it seems fine. It's like 4, so what Defend Your Honor works with it. There's a few cool interactions with it.
There's just all these L5R nerds yelling at me for calling the spine.
I was deep in the jank tank of thinking of how to do it in HMT where you can use Smuggling Deal on his reaction. So like favorable bloom in for the second one, and then Gaijin him to unbow him, and then Smuggling Deal to trigger it again.
The big problem is the immediately declaring the conflict isn't that big of a benefit. The benefit is flipping pole to mill, which you already have.
Yeah, but with that Warriors of the Wind thing, right? You could like charge him in and then send all your cap home for the second conflict. Like it's sort of like
I'm not seeing it.
We'll see. All right, Ben, next card.
Next one, a daimyo, a master, Kaito Nobukai. Hey, hold on a second.
It's Keto Kasori's dad, right? Is it?
But I thought Keto Kasori was the daimyo. But anyway. Kaito Nobukai, a 2/2 for 3, a courtier and a daimyo. So pretty terrible stats, 2 glory. Action: during a conflict in which his character is participating, sacrifice his character, bow each participating character. Characters cannot be moved to this conflict. The art of archery is the art of letting go.
Really cool, interesting effect that we haven't really seen before at all. It's like incredible cost and an incredibly powerful effect. I think this might be a 1x. Like it's probably worth trying out. If you're in games where you're behind, like against HMT, and you just need a turn to rebalance, it's really, really good.
It's like what about as a box defense?
Yeah, it's great for defending your stronghold, but I think it being a dynasty card is what makes it tough because timing it is going to be really hard. You never ever want to see it early game ever. So it's going to be a tricky one. It goes in the no deck, guys.
Just IMS no deck. Just that deck that just says you cannot play L5R. Just add this in.
Oh, it just was like Tadaka and lots of event cancels.
It's Tadaka, Lighthouses, Conjure District, Emperor. Like it's just you don't play L5R. It's beautiful.
All right, so we move on.
MP in the deck. All right. This is a two Costa Bushi, Agasha Taiko. Unique she is. The Agasha family are a family of Nodu Shigenja. This one is not. She is a Bushi. 2/2, 0 glory. I like the 0 glory. That's pretty sweet. Reaction: after you play this character, choose a non-stronghold province. That province cannot be attacked this round. How could it be wrong to seek the enlightenment that Izumi so effortlessly possesses when we all walk towards Tagashi's wisdom?
So
That's what I ask you all.
First of all, this card has some of my favorite art I've ever seen in the game. It really reminds me of the Curse of the Golden Flower that is shown in the Yamu film, which I just absolutely love. So that's
Check that film
all
out
I'll
if you
say.
haven't seen it.
Great movie. That's all I'll say that's positive about it.
What about the perspective on the art? Like the flowers? Do you notice the
Oh, it's so
perspective?
cool.
The bottom left of the image, the flowers actually feel like they're popping out at you.
Yeah, and then the background's out of focus, which it looks almost cinematic. It's
you guys
really,
don't
really
sound
cool.
excited by a 2/2 that can be assassinated. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I think 2-drops are really, really hard ask. Dragon's got a stacked Dynasty deck, and then it's another problem, same problem with Nobukai that we just reviewed, is that timing is the issue with this. Because turn 1, when all provinces are face down, does nothing. And then at the end of the game, if your stronghold's revealed, it does nothing, and you never want to see it. So I think it's just, and the effect is kind of marginal.
What if you bait them, right? Like, they're on Chasing the Sun, and you say and then you say no, listen, and then you go, you can't attack Restoration Balance. They don't know it's Restoration, but you can't attack here, and they go, I'll go somewhere else, and then I'll Chasing the Sun into it. It's like, gotcha.
Mind games. I love it. Yeah. I do like you think that might be a thing one day.
No,
maybe
because,
it is in the Shiro Shono deck. Who knows?
This is in the pack because it's trying to deny the one fade off the unicorn box, right?
Yeah. Shiro Shono. Yeah. True. Okay, so here's a card we can disagree about. Ikoma Anakazu, who is a 4-cost 3/3 conflict character with 2 glory from Lion, who's a Bushi and a Daimyo, so he's the boss of the Ikoma. During each conflict in which character is participating, it gets +3/+3 if your opponent has broken one or more of your provinces this phase. So if you've already lost, he's pretty good. And his quote is, you dishonor yourself and your clan with this rejection, mistress of the impetuous wind. So he's really angry at the unicorn. And it's got 4 influence.
So Bert was asking what theme, Lion needs a game plan. And it seems like FFG is providing one where it's lose more to win. But what do you think?
Dude, if that's our theme going forward, I am rock hard about that because I loved Martell in Game of Thrones LCG 1.0, and I love that's a great theme. I love playing.
It's a theme of revenge as well, right? Like,
and it fits Lion. It fits Lion pretty well. We get into
they love revenge. They love revenge.
I think, as a theme, it's great. I'm not sure if this guy's text box is that.
It's pretty good, man. It's what is it? It's a 4/6/6.
I think the big benefit is just having 6 pole on a body in Lion is basically impossible.
We'll get this, Bert. What if they hit your Appealing to the Fortunes and you just drop him?
Yeah, with Appealing, it's fucking sick.
Isn't that your
So with Appealing, and what about there's that character that makes the 4-cost line that makes things 2 cheaper?
That's
so I've
too.
played a lot
like
of.
that.
I've actually played a fair bit of Matsu Suko,
But not with Ikoma Anakazu.
Not with him, but I've never even been able to get into positions where I was.
Do you know why, Bert? Because you're not bidding 2 turn 1.
I was. I bid 1 turn 1.
You lost 2 provinces. Is that the problem?
I just got crushed.
You
don't go full bid 1. That's it. That's the.
I think Suko. I don't understand why Suko had to have if you are more honorable. I think that's just a dick punch. Like the card would still be like if you remove that from the text. Still, no one would go, oh my god, she's a 5 out of 5. It would still be, oh, while you're attacking, you get a cost reduce. Oh, that's kind of nice. Yeah. As it is, so I think it was just unnecessary.
I just think that you should run her and smuggling, the smugglers, whatever the hell it is, that let you use their ability twice.
Because then you need to be more honourable for twice. Like just adding to the challenge. Then it's like 13 to 12, and then you smuggling deal. I think you're like, haha, and they're like, we're equal now, bro.
This guy's also got great art, and he is a bit of a step in the right direction, like a very, very tiny baby step. We finally have a conflict character that's not a 1-drop that's worth buying. I
think appealing. Cool. I just think appealing to the fortunes is like
appealing's where he's
what you do.
Really
you
strong.
Just kind of you just talisman them into it, and then you.
God, you get a free 6/6 with appealing.
He's also super, super good when you can't get through Kurimori.
Correct.
Because he's a 6 pole.
He's like anti-dual as well, right? So you've lost one. And
I think you'd probably play 1 or 2.
100%. What do you think of the 4 influence, though? I thought most of the unique conflict characters you couldn't splash. And I thought
I think it's kind of weird that a daimyo would ever, align with another clan. But I guess that is effectively saying you can't play this guy.
Well, I'll be real. My first thought
unless
was
there's a
unicorn.
really...
So like I run the Ready for Battle hand-to-hand package instead and put one of him in.
Yeah, because you're running appealing in that deck too, right? I think that I think the reason why this character has, I mean, thematically, forgetting about the mechanics for a second, thematically, is I think this guy is really angry. He's very emotional, and I feel like emotions are very easy to manipulate. So I think he joins people because he's like, that guy screwed me over, so the enemy of my enemy is my friend, so I'm gonna join with these guys and screw him over. I think that's kind of his jam. He's an angry man. Right. So now to the person who wears way too many clothes. Kikita Ryoku. She has massive, massive kimono on. She's got very, very long flowing hair. She looks pretty cool, and she's got like some red attendants in the background. I don't know what they're doing. But she is a 3-cost unique courtier. She's Imperial, 1 military, 3 political, and she has 2 glory. Reaction, after a phase begins, any phase. If you have the Imperial favor, choose a character, honor that character. And then she has a quote, which is, from the virtue of her writing, gossip about the former Imperial advisor inevitably becomes reverent praise.
I think the ability is pretty cool. I just worry that Crane have quite a strong dynasty overall, and have a political body isn't one of their weaknesses. I think part of the reason why Toshimoko got a lot of praise and is included in decks is because of his huge numbers in the red stats. So I don't know in this climate if you really need her.
It adds consistency.
I mean, honoring a character in Crane is always good.
My fear is that Crane's one weakness was if they couldn't find an honor card turn 1, you actually got to have a turn before it all got cancelled. And that can still be the case turn 1 here, but then turn 2 onwards, if they win the favor, they have a consistent way to be more honorable. Have more honored characters than you.
I think the conditions are just too hard to attain, even in Crane, where I think you don't want to be making suboptimal plays for your whole turn just to get favor, right? So like if you buy this character, your opponent knows, all right, they've invested 5 fate, they need to win favor, so I can attack them in different ways, and I know what their game plan is going to be this phase. It's going to be to try and win favor.
Is it weird though? I think Crane's second best at getting maybe third best at getting the favor.
I think they're pretty good at it. But even the very best clans still don't have it. They might have it 70% of the time.
Depends if you attack or not.
Maybe this is a wait. This is maybe a wait a while card.
Yeah, we have to wait and see. Maybe, you know what? Maybe in the honor running deck where you put like 5 fate on this character and you just always get favor and you just honor your weenies as their living play and
Seems
gain honor.
legit.
So it's more of for a potential honor running deck, it might be a good part of that engine.
Because you can do it. You can do it turn 1 in the fate phase, and then you can do it you can get it every turn if you played it turn 1.
Yeah, you just need to make sure you win that favor. Yep.
So probably just to round out the cast for today, there's a few shout-outs wanted to do. One of them is we are registration is open, and it's we talked about this on the last pod, and I've shouted it out. Well, we've shouted it out to every group that we can think about. But just in case you haven't, somehow you're listening to this specific podcast and you haven't looked at any L5R groups, is the Australian and Southeast Asian Discord League. Volume 6 is out. It's ready to go. We're going to be kicking it off on registration close Monday midnight at Australian Eastern Standard Time. So that's going to be very soon, probably like within 24 hours of listening to this podcast. And the games are round 1 will kick off on Tuesday. We've already got people registered from Indonesia and Singapore, China, Hong Kong, even some people from Australia. No one from Tasmania yet, though. That's
we're going quasi-national boys
quasi-national. And girls. We got a whole bunch of folk from Western Australia this time. We got some South Australia. We got a bit of everything, so it's pretty exciting. Hopefully it already has more than last season, because I think that was the Christmas break, so people were just kind of relaxing a bit.
And we the finals for last season, we actually got about 35 viewers, including international attention, which is about what like an EC broadcast would get. So, it's a good event, and hopefully we get to cast some more amazing games of L5R for it.
Yeah, we've got some cool guests coming up as well. We've got some folk. We've got a bit of a crafting roundtable coming up later this week, so you'll get to hear from folk who are making stuff that goes with L5R, which is kind of, the making stuff crew. I think they add a lot of enjoyment and value to our community.
Living out the artisanship represented in the cards that they play.
Or you can just be like me and be an illustrious plagiarist, and we're all good.
Cool. So, do you guys got any shout-outs? Anything you want to just let the world know? Anything needs to come to attention?
There's going to be like shout-out to Sabotage, preventing Tadakas from hitting the board since 2019. It's been great.
Yeah.
Two things. I'll say, if you're sick of towers, go and try out Unicorn HMT and just win or lose in 2 turns. It's really satisfying. And also, check out Simcof's spreadsheet data set thing that's making the rounds on social media that has all the results from ECs and Kotais this season, which is really, really cool to kind of break down all the stats.
Actually, just on that, by the way, Ben, from other game communities, having stats like that is a huge ask. And so it is very much appreciated that you do that, because I feel like it does add a lot to the competitive side of the game to have hard data.
It's also just cool
100%.
to talk about and analyze and think about.
It elevates the conversations that we have, because it gives us evidence to back up what we're saying. So thank you so much.
No worries. Well, I appreciate that. And remember to click on there's a link on that spreadsheet which says chart stats and pictures. It's all in capital letters. If you click on that link, I've put together some charts and graphs as well, which kind of show you, it's kind of the aggregate. So it shows you how the clans have been going over time, and it's got like, who are the top ranked players, etc., how the splashes are doing. A little usage tip I would give people, because you can filter by event type and country and release, etc., by going downstairs and clicking the little filters. But one thing you can do, which you might not have realized yet, is if you click a clan name in the clan scoreboard, it will filter the entire dashboard by that clan name. So you can go, who are the best Phoenix players? And you can see, who are Phoenix splashing or Unicorn, etc. And you can even, if you hold control, you can select multiple clans at once, so you can kind of compare clans to each other. So there are a bunch of cool little ways of using it, and I would highly suggest anyone who has any ideas for particular stats, charts, graphs, just send them, onto the hiddencityrollers@gmail.com, or use our Hidden City Rollers Facebook page, or tweet us at Hidden City Rollers, and I'll do my best to get them up there.
I also just want to say, one last thing. Send me any weird decks that you want us to potentially feature on the cast, because that's one of my favorite segments, is when we dissect a new deck, and there are plenty of new decks going around.
Me and Butters have a lion deck for you for Thursday, but we'd love one from the community as well, so we can compare the two. We've got one for you already, Bert. I'm excited. I just think Butters is the one that should announce it.
And probably one last thing over here, which is that if you're in a playgroup that's not Melbourne, it's not the Melbourne CBD, and you would like it featured on Hidden City Rollers, we've done Portland now, we did Brizzy. Please let us know at the aforementioned channels of communication, because we'd love to speak to you, and the weirder your playgroup is, the better. Cool. All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. And until next time, keep on rolling.
Thank you.